In a world of fake news, we bring you up-to-the-minute factual inaccuracy and a heavy dose of moral truth. With your hosts, Kyle Mann and Ethan Nicolle. This is the Babylon Bee. Fake news you can trust.
Welcome, my friends.
Yes. Hello.
Pull up a seat.
You're right there. I see you.
In the studio audience.
Welcome.
As we do the Babylon Bee podcast. See, as you can tell, we were practicing looking at the cameras.
Yes.
Unless you're listening on audio, and then you wouldn't be able to tell
You wouldn't know that.
But that's what we're doing. Because Ethan and I just stared dreamily into each other's eyes instead of looking at the cameras. Because that's what we're used to.
It's security.
It's like
am I being funny? I can't tell if this is funny.
You definitely play off the facial expression.
Yeah, we reassure
when we're doing
each other
interviews, I'm like, Mr. Costi Hin, is Benny Hin, is he dumb?
Yeah.
And I look at Ethan and he nods. Good question. We just talked to Costi Hin, who will be airing at some point.
And that's why the interviews that are going to come out, like we just had the Phil Robertson one come out, and other ones. We weren't really in the headspace of being on video yet in those. So that's really like kind of a candid look at what it's like when we record. Because especially the Phil Robertson one, he's just talking and Dan didn't want to just have a photo of Phil Robertson up the whole time. So it just keeps cutting to our facial expressions like as he's talking.
Kyle's checking Twitter.
Yeah, we see Kyle on his phone.
But this is now a professional newscast.
Exactly.
So you're going to see higher energy from us.
Right.
Smarter questions. More scathing points.
Though I can't look at this too much. It's weird.
It is weird. It's this giant eye of Sauron staring at you.
It's a cyclops, a three-legged cyclops.
And Dan can move it, so I'll look at it, and then it'll be like...
Yeah, you can move with a remote.
Very scary.
You had a crazy week, Kyle.
I did have a crazy week.
You went on vacation.
We decided to do a little vacation to Phoenix, Arizona. And it was more like, we're locked down in California. Mm-hmm. Let's go over there. My wife can get her hair done.
So hot, we'll die.
But we rented a Airbnb with a pool.
With AC, hopefully.
And AC, which our AC is broken right now.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
So it was like, even though we went to a hotter place, it was relaxing. And it felt good to have a little freedom. We actually ate out at a restaurant.
You want to do that?
Arizona restaurants.
Oh, yeah, because it's not...
They supposedly lifted some restrictions yesterday.
That's amazing.
So we managed to go out to eat. My wife got her nails done and stuff.
Wow.
I got my nails done, but not
Murderers.
Really. Oh, yeah. We want grandma to die, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, you don't have grandparents in Arizona, so that's okay.
I'm just killing the Arizonian. Zonian.
Yeah.
Arizoners.
But sunlight kills the virus quickest, and it's constant there. You can't avoid it. So there's probably no virus there.
No COVID-19 cases in Arizona. But we are sick of talking about COVID-19.
So sick of it.
So we're going to only do like one story on COVID-19 today, I think. But okay. So my vacation was a complete and total disaster because my transmission broke down. We were about 40 miles outside of Phoenix. Yeah. And my son had to pee. And he's like, gotta pee.
He caused it?
Yes. So we pull off the side of the road. He's like, I don't want to pee. I don't want to pee in the bush. So we put him back in the car. There's a rest stop like 5 miles. I try to get back to speed on the freeway. Won't shift past like first gear, second gear. So I'm driving through the desert, 7,000 RPMs. The little heat temperature gauge.
That's always the worst.
Oh gosh. So I'm like trying to go neutral. Finally get over a hill and we're like rolling. Pull off at a gas station. We let it cool down for like an hour. Get back in. And we kind of limped into Phoenix. And just as we got off the freeway, transmission totally gone. It wouldn't engage at all. So I managed to like put it in park, throw it in drive. It would get in first gear. And we're like, we rolled into the Airbnb and stopped. And then the next morning I had to take it to the mechanic. $4,000.
$4K, man.
So please support with the GoFundMe that is on your screen right now.
There's a GoFundMe?
No, I'm just kidding.
I once burnt out my engine, just got completely fried out. And I had to buy a new one. It was like $7,000. It was just enough to not buy a new car, but to just buy just enough to fix the car that I didn't even really want. And it was right when I was going to buy a wedding ring anyway. Yeah,
total.
I'm not trying to one up your story, but
no,
7,000 is almost double what you paid. So.
One time, my car exploded,
and your entire family died.
And my whole family died.
Wow.
But not really. It's just wanted to one up you.
Yeah, apologies to people who have had that happen.
Well, this is a podcast where we cover the news through reading Babylon Bee stories, your most trusted fake news source.
It's not satire. It's guys talking about satire that write satire.
And then soon we're going to launch a second podcast where we talk about the Babylon Bee show.
Yeah.
So then it's guys talking about guys writing satire.
It's called Talkin' Bee.
Talkin' Bee.
And it'll feature that one guy from all those other shows, Chris Hardwick. He'll be the host.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let's talk.
Let's talk
about this though. Stuff that's good.
But now, this week's edition of Stuff That's Good.
For my stuff that's good this week, I'm going to, again, piggyback off my Arizona experience. Okay. And I'm going to recommend an amazing burger place that you've heard of called In-N-Out. And specifically...
That's here. Why is it in Arizona?
Well, it is in Arizona too. But specifically going to the secret menu and doing things like the animal-style fries and the animal-style burger. I've had friends tell me that Whataburger is amazing, way better than In-N-Out. This is the comparison that's always made. Personally, I think In-N-Out is probably not the best burger ever. Personally, I think that In-N-Out is not the best burger ever.
Yeah.
But I can't do this.
I've had when I moved to Southern California, I didn't understand the big deal about.
You distracted me, and I don't know what I say.
I told Kyle that he bumps the mic, and now he just did it, and now he can't function. I'm so sorry, but I didn't get it. But then I got it later. Like it is weird. Like
what, In-N-Out?
Yeah, like I didn't. I was like, what is the big deal about this? It's just a normal burger. And then as I lived here, I suddenly started craving them, and I went through a phase where I kept sneaking out at night and getting In-N-Out. Or if I was driving home late at night, I wanted to get In-N-Out. There's something about the crispiness, the way they make the bun, the animal style. I don't know what it is. And it feels like a secret club because of the secret menu.
In-N-Out tastes like California. And it's amazing.
And they're Christians, so.
Yeah, and they have Bible verses in the cups.
Just a little bit of Holy Spirit.
I did not see Bible verses in the Whataburger cups. So, and the Whataburger burger and fries were quite underwhelming. So all you people who say that Whataburger is amazing.
Fries at In-N-Out.
The fries were very bad. The burger it felt like a burger I could make at home. Like, did not.
You're dividing our audience right now. You
people who like Whataburger are wrong. Eat In-N-Out instead. That's my stuff that's good. Ethan.
My stuff that's good. Last week, I introduced many people to the band Crooked Still. I got some thank yous. And so this week, I'm going to do another music recommendation if you like bluegrass. There is a pretty famous country singer right now named Chris Stapleton. He was named best new country music artist of the year a few years back. He's not new. He was in a band called Steel Drivers for a while. The band is still around with a different lead singer. They're all right now. Chris Stapleton's amazing. So if you go back to the first few Steel Drivers albums with Chris Stapleton on them, it's like this gritty rock vocals with really good bluegrass, good songwriting. It's some of the best. This is some of my favorite music. So it's lesser known Chris Stapleton. So if you like Chris Stapleton, go back to that. If you like bluegrass, it's just the perfect mix of it's got more power to it than a lot of bluegrass. It's kind of like a guy singing but Chris Stapleton, he is with banjos.
Sounds like the Nickelback of.
He's a little Nickelbacky, but
bluegrass.
Better. Yeah.
Awesome. So check out our
Steel
stuff that's good.
Yeah, stuff that's good.
Listen to Steel Driver while eating In-N-Out.
Do it.
This has been Stuff That's Good.
This news is weird.
Florida lizard breaks world poop record.
You haven't even read it yet.
Dies constipated. Does he die of constipation, or did he pass away of natural causes and he still just had?
There's probably a picture on the screen right now of what's that? It's not an X-ray, but it shows. It's you can see inside him picture.
One of those doctor pictures.
Big doctor pictures with the inside.
Medical picture things.
You can see his bones, and then you see just a massive turd all around him, his entire body, because he's eating greasy sand. I think was that what it was. Without clicking on it, I think that's Dan was telling me. He showed me the pictures. So
one of them doctor pictures.
What is the measurement for the size of poop?
Well, you've got a lot of things. You've got length. You've got density.
Yeah.
Circumference, girth.
So there's probably a lot. Like, because there's Scovilles for like hot sauce. So I was curious if there's one for poop. I know on South Park
Was
it
the
was
South
Couric's.
Park? Yeah, that's right. I've never watched
that's
South
mean
Park,
to Katie Couric.
except maybe one episode or two.
And in this
maybe
day, it
3.
should be Acosta's or something. I don't know. Sorry.
Libs
Not nice.
owned.
Libs owned.
We need a sound clip for Libs owned.
Yeah, we need something for that.
And like a big stamp that comes on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
They're tearing up into my coffee mug.
Destroyed.
A man walks into Dunkin' Donuts with no mask or pants. You like that?
So if coronavirus wasn't happening, would the story just be
Would it be popular? Would it be?
man walks in with no pants?
That's true. And it's funny that right now, which is more offensive?
I know.
Like, could you at least have the decency to put a mask on,
Like the first
sir?
thing they notice is, please put a mask on.
Put a mask on.
And then they're
Yeah.
you don't even have pants on.
Or if he doesn't have a mask on, so will you please just at least remove your pants and tie them around your face?
But if you're not wearing pants, does that spread the coronavirus?
That's a good question.
Because if you just pee on
Does
someone,
flatulence? Is that the same as a cough?
Yeah.
A reverse cough.
Maybe we need butt masks.
That's what underwear is. I guess we never thought about that. It's crazy.
Darth Vader enforces lockdown in Philippine village.
I'm assuming this isn't the real Darth Vader because he's fictional.
So there's just a guy dressed up as Darth. Yeah, I would assume so too, Ethan. So there's a guy dressed up as Darth Vader. Oh, he's going around in a little boat.
In a boat? Darth Vader has a
Yeah.
boat. Huh.
Local officials are dressing up as Darth Vader and sailing around in rowing around in little boats.
So people are going insane because of the lockdown.
Yeah.
Basically. There's the guy on the beach down here dressed as Death. You seen that guy?
Oh yeah. Did you see that stormtrooper that was that got arrested in Canada? He had the fake laser blaster and he was just marching around. And these cops come with all their weapons drawn and they're like, drop the gun, drop the gun.
They don't get... Wow.
That's Canada for you. Eh?
That would, if somebody did a mass shooting in a stormtrooper outfit, that would ruin it for all cosplayers.
That's true.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Well, actually, I mean,
Or
I don't want people to die
Really, any
at all. Any shootings, but
especially
and
not.
also, if I could get that side effect in another way that people didn't have to die, I wouldn't mind if Star Wars cosplaying was like a little more taboo.
Well, think about something you love though. Like, what if a guy slung a banjo around his back?
Yeah,
and then did a mass shooting? That would ruin it for you forever.
Banjo's already kind of associated with like KKK
That's
and
true.
stuff.
That's true. And you don't care because you're racist.
I'm bringing it back to morbid, obese, white, non-racism.
All of that was the
giant
same
beards.
except the word non.
Yeah. Final weird story? Oh no, we got two more. World's biggest 5G tower installed on Mount Everest using yaks to lug controversial equipment up tracks. The equipment was controversial?
Well, 5G. I mean, 5G, people think it
Oh, because
spreads
they think it's...
coronavirus and stuff.
Wait, it spreads coronavirus?
That's what people are saying. Or like it causes cancer, it causes all this. And
So all these people are like,
So
these yaks are in on it?
someone took these maps that was like all the coronavirus infections, all
Yeah.
the 5G towers, and they're like all in the same spots. But that's
They make
because
these connections.
that's because they're all in
That's
cities.
heavily populated areas.
It's amazing all the things you could
Wow.
make connections between.
And yaks are now in on it too, so that's crazy.
And we as journalists of the Babylon Bee, we have no inside knowledge on 5G being the thing that spreads coronavirus.
This episode brought to you by Spectrum.
That was good.
Sprint.
That was really good. Keep that joke in there,
Sprint
Dan.
merged with starts with T.
Did they?
Something.
T-Mobile.
Yeah. The letter T. T-Mobile.
It starts with a T. Yes, it does. French encouraged to eat more cheese as act of patriotism.
What does that mean?
This reminds me of when we all ate freedom fries back in the 9/11
We
days.
did that?
Yeah, they were all mad about...
I think everybody hid that
French
from me
fries.
because I was already morbidly obese. So like, don't tell Ethan that we're all eating freedom fries, all right?
Yeah, because if you could just justify it as,
Yeah,
well, I'm a patriot,
I'm eating free. I gotta be patriotic. I'll get 9 of them.
you would be dead by now.
Yeah, because I don't remember that at all. So they hid that from me.
The term was born in 2003 when the Republican chairman of the Committee on House Administration renamed the menu item, French fries, in 3 congressional cafeterias in response to France's opposition to the proposed invasion of Iraq.
Wait, are we talking about French fries or cheese?
So French fries, they renamed them freedom fries in the congressional cafeteria because they were mad that France didn't want us to invade Iraq.
Okay.
That's
we're
the
back
most,
to the cheese here.
That's the most petty American story ever, and that's kind of wonderful. So this is the opposite, though. This is France saying you guys got to eat cheese.
But why? What's the problem? That they're like, okay, if you guys don't eat cheese,
Well, maybe it's like economic.
everyone will die.
It's to help the dairy industry.
Because they're struggling
because there's
right
a
now?
huge surplus of cheese.
Gotcha. Eat cheese.
Well, maybe we can help the French out.
Yeah.
I love cheese.
We're going to do a special thing today. In a subscriber portion, we're going to read, G.K. Chesterton has an amazing essay on cheese. It's funny and poignant. And so we're going to read that and go over it and chat about it. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the all-time favorites if anybody likes Chesterton. It's very short. Essay on cheese.
It's a little cheesy.
Hey.
But hey, it's great.
Great. Yes. We're really going to shred this one.
It's going to be really Gouda.
Gouda. Isn't it Gouda?
Yeah, but I mean, I have to make it.
Yeah.
I always say Gouda. I don't know. Is it Gouda?
I think it's Gouda.
I don't pronounce
My
the
wife
words
first
correctly.
used to really try to, she'd called it Howda.
Howda?
And then we found out it's Gouda. Yeah, because it just seems like whatever your instinct is, you got to go against it with cheese.
See, but I double think that and then triple think, and then I end up
Yeah.
and they're completely wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, check it out.
Yeah, it's going to be very crafty.
You're still thinking of it. It's really sharp.
Every week, there are stories. These are some of them.
Trump has unleashed a new weapon in the Cold War with the Far East after the recent attack on the Pacific Northwest of the invasive swarms of giant Asian hornets, nicknamed murder hornets. Trump has unleashed a new secret weapon developed just for this attack: American kamikaze bears.
I like it. You have to say American because kamikaze is Japanese.
Well, because the original name that they were giving these things for social media was Asian murder hornets.
Asian murder.
So the parallel is American kamikaze bears.
Oh, because murder is an American thing.
And a kamikaze is a Japanese
Right.
thing. Or it was.
Because there's kamikaze pilots
Yeah.
in Japan, and then in America had murder pilots.
Yeah.
We didn't kill ourselves. We just murdered. So I'm trying to draw these parallels that aren't there.
So our pilots in World War II were murder
My
pilots?
grandfather was a murder pilot.
Well, he was a kamikaze pilot. He's a murder pilot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who do you want on your side?
Yeah. I mean, the kamikaze seems really inefficient to me.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
you can't
one
reuse
use,
them. You
right?
want-
Yeah, not reusable.
I wonder why they did it. I bet maybe the destructive force of one plane loaded with explosives was a lot greater than dropping
It's
a
just
few
that
bombs.
like you can't compete with that insanity of that you're going to just blow yourself up.
And
I don't want to
it
blow
was
up.
really scary.
Yeah.
And I bet also that because you didn't have like all the crazy heat-seeking missiles we have today, it was easier to just point right at
That's
the
true.
ship
Because
and
you
fly.
have to aim whatever you're aiming at with your plane is what you're shooting, right?
Yeah.
So you
Versus
gotta
like
get
flying above and drop the torpedo.
So you get like
So-
a few more bullets in if you just blow up.
This is a commentary of two guys who know nothing about
Zero.
military technology, commenting on military technology.
Yeah.
So yeah, apparently there are these new Asian giant hornets.
Now, they've gotten a lot of press, the Asian murder hornets, but there's a lot of bugs and things that haven't got as much press. Maybe
Yeah.
because their crime isn't exactly murder.
Yeah, and since we are investigative journalists, we went out and found these
Yeah. So
species.
it's good to get educated. For instance, there's the wire fraud butterflies.
That's a bad crime.
Yeah. It's not as bad as murder, but
Still pretty bad. How
I
about
don't even know what wire fraud is. Is that like when you tap into people's
that? Always sounds like one of those fake crimes where they can't nail someone for something else.
the black and the white wire in your lighting gets
No,
flipped?
no,
You can't turn it on.
it's like criminals that they couldn't nail for something else, and they're like, "But you transferred this money via wire, so then that's how they get them."
Still don't get it. Continue.
Profanity spewing click beetle.
Yeah. At least they click, so it kind of masks the swearing, like they
Self-censor with the click.
self-censor with the click. Like, the North American. This is not actually a bug, but it made the list. North American racketeering raccoon. Again, I don't know what racketeering is.
This is two guys who don't know anything about
Anything. That's the
white
whole
collar
point of this.
crimes,
Yeah.
commenting on crimes.
White collar crimes are boring. Who wants to get into all those details?
Whenever we would like move into a new area, because we bounced around a few times, you look up the crime maps to see how nice the area is that
They
you're
got
living
crime
in.
maps?
Yeah, you can pull up a crime map. A lot of cops, a lot of police departments will do it.
I've seen the predator maps, but I've never seen the full
crime map, and you'll see
Okay.
like the recent crimes.
Okay, yeah.
So we feel safe in an area if all the crime is like, they're like in the neighborhood, it'll be like wire fraud, racketeering. Okay, so it's a good.
Not shot people in the face or something. Yeah.
Right. Mattress tag beetles. So do they rip the tags off?
It says do not remove by penalty of law, and then they're just right there. Snip, 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 snip.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I'll throw you right in jail for that.
Mm-hmm. There's the telemarketer aphids, which they're just really annoying because they're just calling you constantly.
Telemarketing is not a crime.
Well,
it might be in some
it's
areas.
debatable. If you tell them not to call you and then they still call you, that's a crime.
That's true.
I'd say. And I think the aphids don't respect that list.
Genocidal potato bugs.
That's pretty bad. I don't know why they haven't. I think it's mainly that they...
It's still like murder, but it's mass murder, right?
I think it's mainly that they think about it a lot, but they don't pull it off very often.
I think potato bugs are the absolute disgustingest creatures that God made.
You know, I have a funny because, there's Jerusalem crickets, which are also called potato bugs, but I'm talking about like sow bugs, right? Roly-polies.
Oh, I was talking about those Jerusalem crickets. They're absolutely gross, like yellow and black.
I don't know if I've seen them. Are they around here?
In Chino, growing up, we had them all the time.
Well, I'm thinking roly-polies, which are also called potato bugs by some people like me. And my wife just figured out that she found this on the internet, if you put in a tuna can, you fill it with beer, you put that in your garden next to the plant that the roly-polies won't stop eating, and you put it right at like the level of the ground, so it's like a pool, they will murder themselves in mass to get into the beer. Like they will just all get in there until you have a full tuna can of a genocide of potato bugs, sow bugs, roly-polies. So,
is that what a group,
hot tip?
Is that what a group of potato bugs is called? The genocide.
A genocide. It's called a potato pile. I don't know. Yeah.
One more bug we have here.
We have one more bug here that needs more press. The arson lice. So if your head catches on fire, that could be arson lice.
You never know.
You never know. But then the Trump.
But Trump, since he launched these American Kamikaze bears, he met in his war room.
Yeah.
With his generals, and they had a bunch of different ideas.
They had little manila folders and files like, sir, here are the different animals you could consider for this
and he
attack.
Very thoughtfully considered before selecting the American Kamikaze bear. So the first one that he considered was... this is the first time I'm seeing this list. The first one he considered was the sexual assault weevils.
Yes. There's a picture, I think, that looks like Harvey Weinstein, maybe, with a very long proboscis on his face. Kidnapping and torturing walruses, which I think it's mainly they're not as efficient because they're slow. And then I don't know if they actually kill, they just kidnap and torture. So it's pretty bad. But not as bad as a kamikaze bear. The
flesh-ripping platypus is another one.
Yeah.
Rip and tear.
Yeah, they don't kill, they rip and tear.
Yeah.
And they want to live. Again, you can't compete with something that's a kamikaze.
Hey, that goose that was outside, they had little...
We have geese on here.
Oh, I'll wait until then.
Okay. I'm next. Serial killer whales, which is worse than a killer whale because they're a serial killer. And they mostly hang out in cornfields carrying knives.
Do they have a type? Like they have their MO that they...
Yeah, like their type they go for.
Yeah.
Which is, again, not as efficient. You want a killer whale that'll like just take out anybody. Somebody who's more diverse in their murdering.
And the serial killer whale, he leaves this calling card, like a shell or something on the... Like shells on the eyes.
Like a little fish bone.
Or something like that,
or something like Heathcliff.
Face-eating ducks.
Face-eating ducks are the worst.
Aren't those just geese?
You could say that, actually. They've mutated, they're bigger, and they want to eat your face. But there's also exploding geese, which that could be kamikaze, but they're not as big as a bear.
So there was two of those geese outside, and they had the little goslings, I guess, the
Ryan Goslings.
The Ryan Goslings.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called, the babies?
I think so.
So the little...
Just funny.
I usually... We have a truce, me and that goose.
Oh, yeah?
A goose truce. Because I walk by him every morning, and he just looks at me. Just looks and stares. Yeah.
His head turns like
just
a periscope.
Head turns, but there's two of them now, and they have like 6 of these little goslings. Mm-hmm. And I walk by,
Oh, the more goslings, the more fury.
And he hissed at me. Yeah, he or she, I don't know how to tell, I guess. But
it has babies.
Well, there's two geese there. So I don't know if they side hugged each other and came out with this.
Yeah. And you can feel around and check, but
there was also a broken egg right next to them. So I think they might have been sad.
They were in a fight.
Yeah. All right. And the last animal that Trump considered is the organ-thieving lemurs.
Lemurs.
How do you say it?
Lemurs. What are they, French?
Let me try this again. I'm looking at this on the very bottom of my sheet. Or organ-thieving lemur.
That's like the
I can't say it.
That's like the Obama way to say it because he's like trying to
lemurs
speak in their
Is it lemurs?
dialect.
Goodness gracious.
Lemurs.
The organ-thieving lemurs.
Lemurs. Oh, sacre bleu. Where did my kidney go?
Is the lemurs? They're the ones that are like the guy in Madagascar that sings.
Yeah, the ringtail, the got to move it guy.
Yeah, that guy.
You got crazy eyes.
That all our kids are obsessed with.
They're very spry and rascally.
And they also steal your organs.
Running off with your organs.
So like the church organ or the...
Your guts.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other kind.
They could steal a church organ if they all banded together, but I don't know how cooperative they are.
Well, these are all pretty good options. I think Trump was right to go with the American kamikaze bears, though.
I agree. But that was educational. All right, for our second story. So Kyle was gone this week, and me and Dan decided to run the story. We both kind of hesitated before we did.
Kyle returned to a big smoking crater where the Babylon Bee headquarters used to be.
Yeah. So I wanted to, because there was a very serious story that came out about, I'm sure most people have heard about it. Is it Ahmaud Arbery? Guy was killed. But it was there's this 30-second video that had come out. And it felt like so here's the headline. Let me just read the headline. Asking for context of 30-second video revealed to be racist dog whistle. And so me and Dan were like, we know that some people are going to be mad about this, but like, I want to put this out for the people that feel this feeling. Like, it's not... And we immediately got accused of defending the shooters, which is not at all what we were trying to do. So we called Kira, because we love Kira, and she's an authority on this. And also Kira, I saw you called it a lynching, so like you took a much harder stance than I didn't.
No, I didn't call it a lynching.
Okay, maybe I misread one of your tweets.
Maybe I retweeted somebody, but no, okay. I wouldn't have applied that language to this.
Okay, can I get your perspective on it?
Why don't you stop putting words in her mouth, Ethan?
Yeah, thank you for white explaining.
Tell me if I'm racist or not.
Well, I appreciate it, Ethan, and I'm sorry that I didn't get to talk to Kyle today, but it's good to talk to you, Dan.
I'm Kyle.
It's Kyle.
Yeah.
I'm here.
This is why we should have the camera on for.
This is why we need the camera.
But we don't really need the camera. I don't have to see you guys. I know what you guys look like.
That's right.
All too familiar with your faces.
I've actually gained weight, so you don't want to see me now. I'm worse.
Oh, join the club. Listen, I'm glad you guys reached out to me, and I appreciate it. I appreciate your curiosity about it, and that you're not willing to just kind of take whatever narrative, but you want to just talk through these things. And the last couple times I've been on your show, that's kind of where we go with things, right? Like we always talk through things. We might not agree with them, but I always say that the conversation has to be had. Yeah. And that means having some uncomfortable confrontations. And you guys are not confrontational people at all also, which is like, I know this is so hard for you.
What's that supposed to mean?
We debated about even talking about this for a while before we almost canceled this.
I fully expected to get an email going, you know what, the guys have just decided to back off. And that's fair. Yeah. I don't think that's cowardly. I mean, the Babylon Bee isn't exactly like serious commentary, you know?
Yeah.
That's something what I do. So in respect, you don't want to thwart your audience. But I do think this is something to be talked about. And I think one of the things that I'm having trouble with, that bothers me about the discussion around this, is that there seem to be two different discussions, and I think only one of those discussions is actually valuable. One discussion is, what was this kid doing before? What was the moment before, right? Was he scoping out a home or an empty property to rob? Did he have a history with these people? Was he kind of a troublemaker from the start? Did he have a kind of a bad background? That's one question. And so I guess people ask that question because that's what brought him to the incident.
Right.
But I think the other question that's being asked, and this is the more relevant one, is if Ahmaud Arbery were white, would he be alive today? And my personal opinion is yes. And I think I wrote an article at RedState. You can go find it. It's called "You Didn't Shoot Ahmaud Arbery." And I posit that I think a lot of white conservatives automatically push back at this kind of stuff because they're so used to being blamed for all of racism everywhere for all time,
right,
that it puts them in a defensive position. And so they feel like to even acknowledge the very notion that there is a very dangerous type of racism out there is to almost be accusing themselves, and it makes people uncomfortable. So they feel defensive. They have to push back. And I guess I can recognize the instinct and maybe even understand it, but it's okay for us to acknowledge that there is a very specific experience in this country that is the Black experience. And the police are very closely intertwined with that. And there's a whole history with that. And I think no matter how you cut this, to look at that young man and look at him fighting for his life, basically, I don't think he didn't deserve to die. Right. So the moment before isn't relevant in this case. It's not. And that doesn't mean anytime, anywhere. Now, have the race hustlers and the grifters latched onto this, and he's got, whatever, the Al Sharpton attorneys or whatever. Yeah, of course. But, who else is the Arbery family supposed to turn to? It's not like there's a bunch of conservative groups out there reaching out and offering to represent them, and offering to find justice for them. So that's where I stand on the matter. I don't mind the questions. I don't even mind the arguing, but I don't think that it is a valid point to make that this young man deserved to die, and he brought it on himself.
And I agree with that. I think that's the wrong. I see that too. People are they're becoming online detectives, and they're like zooming in on the video with pixelated, like, look what he's wearing or what he's doing here.
Zoom in enhance.
Yeah. It's like, and the argument that nobody deserves to die for checking out a construction site, or you don't even really deserve to die for like being a thief in a house. I mean, it's not, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. The questions around it are like, what happened? And I think that the frustration that I run into with it is, it feels like you have two choices, which is because we live in such a polarized time. It's like either it was a pure racist hate crime. We have to completely just buy into that, and that racism is alive and well, and therefore all the cures for racism that have been given to us by the left, or people that kind of buy into this whole thing that's as, not that there isn't racism, but that like it's this version, I guess. I don't know. It's like I said, why are we talking about this? I'm scared to even talk about it. Or the other side of it is we have to go the full other way, that he completely had it coming, and you walk to a person's property, you expect to get shot. And there's a whole discussion that, I do think is valid to talk about, like, what's with these the citizens arrest laws or whatever. If people feel like they can just chase somebody down with a gun, they feel like they're within their legal rights, like maybe that's something to have some questions about as well.
Sure, absolutely. And look, it may even be one thing if these men were in their home and this kid broke into the home, and that is another thing. But they set up a sting, they set up and they weren't law enforcement officers, so they literally stalked a young Black kid. I don't see how you see it any other way. Now, you're absolutely right. There are questions to be asked, and there's room in the middle here to have a productive conversation. It's just not going to be had on social media. It just isn't.
Yeah.
and I don't think what we should be doing is accusing each other of being either heartless racist monsters or totally sold out to the social justice warrior movement for simply expressing some opinions, asking some questions. Yeah. You guys know me. I'm not of the mind that Black people have to be living in fear, walking outside of their house every day. That's not how we live. That's not how me and my family live. We've never been forced to live that way. That doesn't mean that there aren't certain realities that are true for maybe not so much me, as a middle-aged biracial Black woman, but for my son, who is a young Black man, and even my husband, who we do deal with these issues of driving while Black. That's a real thing. I know people like to say, well, I've been pulled over for speeding too, but there's a conversation that every Black family has. And I have white family too, so I know it's not the same conversation. And it's that's okay. That's okay to admit that these things do exist. We, Ethan and Kyle and me, you and I, we all have the assurance that there is a greater power out there, that there is a greater common cause that binds us and unites us all. We know to look to the one who can heal those rifts, and that brings us a comfort. But not everyone has that comfort, and it's certainly not available on social media. So we get slung into the mud with all of this. I don't think there needs to be mudslinging, but it's 2020.
There you go, bringing God into it again.
There you go, yeah. That's why we love you.
I always feel like we need an organ playing that slowly builds up behind you.
We should have that. You're going to start a church?
You guys have to make that happen.
Yeah,
you guys
we
can
do
put
it
that in post.
We'll do it in post.
Which, if she started a church, would she have to do like the Roxanne? Like she has to like feed the preaching to the man on the stage?
Oh, like in the earpiece?
Yeah, the earpiece, or hiding in the bushes.
Yeah. Well, she's a good biblical Christian, so she wouldn't preach.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a topic for another time.
We've had this discussion before.
We did.
She told Beth Moore to go home.
Okay, we're going to get you back here soon, Carrie, because we want you back in person. We miss you and we love you. And we're thankful.
I miss you guys too. I'm really sorry our Norm Macdonald double date didn't work out.
I know, we're going to see Norm. It'll happen eventually. He'll be back.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, for America's sake.
Yeah, we got to do it. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on for our quick, I think this is the first time we've had a quick guest, just a little expert weigh-in on a story, but felt like it was appropriate, and we always like a good excuse to talk to Kira.
Well, you guys successfully avoided any kind of real, having any real opinions on the issue, so I don't think anyone can pin y'all down on this one. You've done your job.
It's amazing what people can derive from that story, like the amount of tweets saying that this is pure racist. The funny thing is, we were saying the joke was
literal Nazis. I think.
Yeah, the joke was literally like asking a question, is a racist dog whistle, and there's all these people going, this is a racist dog whistle.
You can't explain. If you have to explain the joke,
yeah,
then
you've already failed. Yeah.
Not saying it was funny.
You gotta ignore the haters. All right, guys.
All right,
I hope to be in person with you soon. Take care.
Sounds good.
Love your families.
Same to you. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Well, the diversity of the Babylon Bee podcast has just decreased by 100% as soon as Kira hung up.
All right. You guys want to keep going? We'll go.
Let's do it. Experts around the nation say that our ethical arithmetic for public policy now only needs to meet the standard if it saves just one life. The announcement was immediately met by wild cheers from those who hate economic activity of any kind, and also those who celebrate abortion on demand. So if it saves one life...
That's the measure?
Except for abortion.
Except for abortion.
Or, you kill hundreds of millions through mass starvation.
If it ends one life. If we just end just one life, it was worth it to plant this Planned Parenthood here. Planted parent. That was hard to say. You can make a pickle planted the Planned Parenthood and the planted planters.
I like how a normal
tongue twister.
I like how a normal doctor is like, was the operation was the thing successful?
Successful.
Oh yeah, she's still alive. Mm-hmm. And an abortion doctor is like, shoot, it's still alive.
It's messed up.
Like that is the measure,
yeah.
right? You're messed up.
CDC releases information on how to make sure nobody dies at all. Did they release that? Everybody die
just permanently.
Oh yeah, so everybody should die.
All death is gone.
The CDC recommended that everybody die to prevent permanent death. Because if we would all just die right now, then no more death would ever happen.
I like this idea that we can all just lock ourselves in our house and then the government can just print dollar bills and send them to us.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to factories to build anything. Nobody's going to
nobody's
farms.
going to lose their mind.
Yeah. No one's going to farms. Nothing is being produced.
As if that's what we always wanted. Like, I got to go to work. I wish I could just sit at home and get money in the mail.
You sound like you're not a friend of socialism.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, because someone's got to at least mail the money. At the very least, somebody has to be the money mailer.
So maybe
the money deliverer.
So our government needs like 2 positions.
Yeah.
The money printer and the money mailer.
Is there anybody else?
I guess money deliverer.
What about what are you going to buy? Because you can't buy anything unless somebody's made it or whatever.
So, yeah, but that's you want.
But that's not in America. You just get it from.
You want grandma to die is what it sounds like to me. Grandma killer. Everybody chant with me. Grandma killer. Wait. It seems like there should be a better cadence
Grandma,
to that.
That sounds like a person's like name. Her name is Grandma Killer, and she's a grandma that kills everybody.
Hey, hi. You want grandma to die.
The Cain Impaler.
I don't know. There's got to be a good... How many grandmas did you kill today?
Yeah, ashes to ashes. I don't know.
What was the old Vietnam chant that they started doing?
Hey ho.
I was like, how many kids did you kill today?
I don't know. I wasn't alive in Vietnam. Were you?
No, I was not. But they started doing it at what's her name? At Dana Lash.
Lash.
They start chanting it at her and stuff. How many kids did you kill today? You know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This story. Oh, Planned Parenthood put out a tweet on Mother's Day. It said,
"Oh, that's sweet.
Happy Mother's Day from moms at home to moms on the front line." What's on the front line mean? Of the war on babies? What's the front line?
Wow, that's very creepy.
That is moms on the front
line.
In their business.
Of the war on women. They're defending themselves from the Republicans who are trying to kill women.
Oh, the war on women.
Yeah.
Not the war on babies. Even though oddly they're winning the war on babies more than the war on women.
It was, hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today? But I thought they did some... hey, NRA, how many kids did you kill?
Hey, I got nothing. So what do we got next today?
I don't know.
We got an interview.
We do?
Yeah, for
I'm excited. Dr.
Economics.
Bob
Murphy. Yeah. And he gave us a lot of analogies using lemonade stands, because that's the only way I can understand economics. And even then, I'm like 50-50. I'm going to get it.
Yeah. If you ever always listen to economics lectures and you say, explain that to me like I'm 5 years old, you're going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
Because we got him to compare a lot of things to lemonade stands.
We really kept bringing him back to the lemonade stand.
So here we go. So as Christians, we know that God's always there for us, but sometimes things can feel kind of sketchy, especially during this time of coronavirus, and a lot of anxiety, depression, and all that stuff is skyrocketing. And what can help us to speak to someone who shares your faith and values.
Right. Counselors, therapists. I think that a lot of Christians, they want to reach out to those kind of people, but it's awkward to be like, are you a Christian or not?
Yeah. There's a stigma with it. And there's people who...
It's like that's supposed to not matter, but it really does matter. Faith is a big deal to you.
Yeah, there's people who are wary of talking to someone who's maybe not a Christian. So,
and what if one of the issues you have is your crisis of faith? I've had people like, I don't deal with this as much, but I've had people have that issue where like they're really worried about, am I getting to heaven? Or like it stresses them out. So those kinds of questions about, you get theological.
So this week our podcast is being sponsored by Faithful Counseling. And there are online counselors that are there for you, whether you're struggling with depression, stress, anxiety, the crisis of faith thing Ethan talked about, relationships, all of that stuff that you would bring to a counselor, you can bring to Christian counselors online.
They'll communicate with you via text, chat, phone, and video. So if you're like awkward about video, you can just text your therapist. That'd be pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
Like that.
So you can go to faithfulcounseling.com/BabylonB, and you get 10% off your first month.
Hey, little honey for the bee fans. So
pretty cool.
Faithfulcounseling.com/BabylonB. Do we have to say it another time?
I think I have to say it one more time.
Faithfulcounseling.com/BabylonB.
So they have a questionnaire that you can fill out, and it'll help them assess your needs and get you matched to a counselor that you'll love. You just got to go to
faithfulcounseling.com/BabylonB.
You're very good at that, Ethan.
Thank you.
So check it out. And thanks for sponsoring the podcast, Faithful Counseling.
And now, the Babylon Bees topic of the week.
Welcome to the Babylon Bee interview show. I'm Kyle Mann.
I'm Ethan Nicolle.
And we are joined today.
It's actually not the interview show. I think this is the new show.
Oh, no, it's not the interview show. Yeah, we're putting this on our topic of the week. That's right.
Corrected you already?
I already ruined it.
Yep.
It's just stupid. Idiot.
Well, it's perfect because we have the guy that writes... We have the guy that writes economics like for dummies books, I think. Is that true? When I Googled you.
Well,
I'm sure
some dummies do read it. It's not for dummies, but yeah, it's.
Oh, it was
dummies are
in
welcome
that
to
realm.
buy my books.
What was it?
Yeah, it's for the general public, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Also known as dummies. No, I'm just kidding. But
his name. Should we say his name?
Yeah, we should say his name.
Okay.
Dr. Robert Murphy.
There
so
we go.
You go by Bob? Is that?
Yeah.
You go by Bob? Are we cool with that?
Yes.
Yeah, when I Googled your name, it's the politically incorrect guide. It's not the idiot's guide. Gosh, I'm an idiot. Sorry about that.
Now you have to do the stupid idiot hit yourself in the face thing.
Okay. Stupid.
There you
Sorry.
go.
All right.
Today for our topic of the week, we are talking about economics, which is the study of eco money.
Yeah, it's like
it's
ecology.
money,
Okay.
I think. And so we are very studied in the School of Economics, but we thought we would get someone on to just confirm our biases. And that's,
I have like 8 Thomas Sowell books on my bookshelf.
Oh, nice. So you're you have a degree in economics, pretty much.
Yeah.
So today we are joined by Dr. Robert P. Murphy. Hi, Doctor. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Glad to be here. And let me say, I love your guys' stuff. For joking aside.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, I think we wanted, dive into. I mean, I'm sure you've been talking about this like crazy, but it couldn't be a crazier time for the economy. And maybe just where are people getting it wrong? You hear a lot of people saying stupid things on the internet. We're in the middle of. In fact, we're just switching to video. So anybody watching, we're in the middle of COVID. There hasn't been a hair place open for a while, so I haven't had a haircut in a long time. So
Me neither.
Just so you know, if you're seeing me,
that's why.
I look like a caveman.
Sure. So I think the mistake of the people, I'll do like mistakes on the left and the right. So the people on the right, like the typical Trump supporter, I think their mistake is if they think the economy was doing great and then, oh shoot, this stupid virus from China came and ruined everything. Especially my colleagues in the what's called the Austrian School of Economics, we've been warning ever since the Fed has been doing the rounds of QE or quantitative easing that they were blowing up a giant bubble that was going to burst. The yield curve inverted last summer, and so before this thing even hit, like a lot of us were warning that there was going to be a pretty bad recession starting this summer anyway. So obviously this global pandemic doesn't help matters any, but I think the economy was in serious trouble already. So for people who think this is just some exogenous thing that Trump couldn't control, and that's why the economy is bad, I think that's wrong. As far as the people who are, the typical progressive leftist types, the thing that they seem to just believe that, everyone can stay home, indefinitely, and the federal government just needs to send relief checks, and we'll just wait till the, medical establishment signs off and when it's safe. And I think, putting aside issues of the medical aspect of this, they're just not understanding the fact that, the economy needs people going to the factories, and it's not just enough to have workers go back to work eventually. But when you get to your job, I mean, you're using things that other people produced. So the way to quickly put it is, when the carpenters go back to work, if there's no new nails because nobody, who makes nails has been going to work for 3 months, they can't do their job, right? So I think the longer this lockdown lasts, you start seeing pockets. The most obvious example that I'm sure your listeners are aware of is the breakdown in the food supply chain, with the meat aspect of it. So that sort of thing. It's not just meat in general.
We all like meat.
Just having people not going to work. I mean, it's not just a matter of we'll just have the government take care. I mean, the government printing money or borrowing money, if people aren't going to work, there's nothing the money can buy, right? So there's just that element too that I think some people on the left are not fully grasping that.
So it sounds to me like you want people to die.
Yeah, is that what you want?
Well, no.
I just wanted to throw in there. Everything economists say. My brain starts to like twist up, like when you get a Charlie horse in your leg. I get that in my brain.
Yeah,
it's like So
it is.
But if you put it all into like lemonade stand analogies and keep it $10 in $10 $1 increments, then I can get it. So if you can always use those analogies for me, I'll get it.
I will do my best.
Best.
I mean, the more serious thing to your reply is, we're certainly in my household taking this very seriously, but again, it can't be that everyone just stays home indefinitely. Because, we rely, we get Instacart and stuff, and how are the grocery stores having food to bring to us? And, who's making the gloves? Who's making hand sanitizer if no one's going to work? I mean, I know this is kind of like common sense stuff, but yet some of the commentary we see, it's like, oh, we can't go back to work until it's safe. And it's like at some point, unfortunately, I mean, there's no good outcome for this, right? I mean, there's constraints, there's scarcity. There's no plan that someone could say and realize there's no downside, and so that's the trade-off we face right now.
So what was you said the economy was already in trouble. So what were the indicators of that, and why was the economy in trouble?
Okay, so what I think causes the business cycle typically is that the central bank, in conjunction with the commercial banks, it floods the market with cheap credit. So interest rates get pushed down to artificially low levels. So I think that's what happened during the housing bubble years, right? In the mid 2000s, is that the Federal Reserve was creating too much money, interest rates were low, and that helped fuel that unsustainable boom, and that's why there was a crisis in 2008. So the Fed did the same thing they had done after the dot-com crash, just far more so with the rounds of QE. So, like, one way I put it in a simple manner is, the government or the Fed creating dollars doesn't make us wealthier. There's not more houses. There's not more food. There's not more software engineers just because they create dollars. And obviously, they can't just, why don't they just create $1 million for everybody, make everyone a millionaire? You realize at some point, well, that can't be it, because then prices would just go up, right? So the mere act of creating money doesn't make us wealthier in a real sense, but it can screw things up. And so I think the booming stock market, from 2009 onward, was artificial. That, objectively there was a lot wrong with the U.S. economy, and yet the stock market was booming. So that's one indication to me that was artificial. And so you asked for a measure. Like I said, one pretty objective thing that a lot of economists and analysts looked at was what's called the yield curve inversion that happened in 2019 at the end of the summer. And that historically, since World War II, whenever that has happened, where what that means is the interest rate on short-term bonds is higher than on long-term ones, typically that signals a recession that comes within a year or so. So that did happen. So a lot of people were saying, looks like a recession's finally here.
Lemonade stand version.
Yeah, I didn't hear a lemonade stand in there at all.
I didn't hear a single lemonade stand reference.
So I guess, if the interest rate's too low, then too many people think it's a good idea to start lemonade stands. The Fed chickens out, raises interest rates, and then a lot of people say, wow, I shouldn't have started that lemonade stand. They got to lay off the worker.
That worked.
I did.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
Now I get it. How about hot dog stands?
Yeah,
Similar
I could probably
idea.
dress it up. Yeah.
Yeah, anything, any food.
We also could have done, another analogy people use is to say, like, the cheap credit from the Fed is like giving a sugar high, or sometimes they might use like a drinking analogy. And so, the low rates are good, but businesses get hooked on it. And then it's kind of like you're going to have a hangover, and so you need more. So there's different analogies people use, but the basic idea being the Fed's not doing us any favors by creating money and keeping interest rates low. That the interest rate's a price, it communicates information, and so if it's the wrong number, that screws things up.
So the Fed is like a drug dealer, and they're injecting everybody with
Crack.
Do you inject crack?
I don't know. You can inject people with crack if you're just a crazy person with a needle, and you just
I guess you can inject anything.
inject
that you
anything
can
at
fit into
anybody
the-
if you want to.
into the syringe.
You just have the disregard for the law.
Yeah.
We'll do anything. Okay. So what are some unforeseen or unseen? What are some things going on right now in the economy that like the average person is not even aware of? Like we're all talking about, the meat and people need jobs, obvious stuff. What stuff that like the layman is not catching on to?
Okay, so one thing that's a pretty big deal is the federal stimulus act that they recently passed, the $2 trillion or whatever the number was.
Yeah,
one of the components of that, and I think they call it the CARES Act. One of the components was the federal government was augmenting state level unemployment insurance by $600 a week, right? And so that was that flat fee regardless of what your previous wage had been. So typically, if you lose your job, you get state, administered unemployment, and it's some percentage of what you used to earn, up to a maximum. So you get paid less from unemployment than if you had kept your job. Whereas here, there's literally millions of people, I don't remember what the exact estimates were, who are getting paid more in unemployment right now than when they had been working. So there's anecdotal reports of like business owners who wanted to keep their employees on the payroll, out of goodwill and stuff. Yeah. And just, they had a team meeting and realized you guys can make more. Just apply for, I'll quote, lay you off, apply for unemployment. You'll get more. Plus, we don't have any customers right now, or maybe they're not essential. They're forced to be closed anyway. And then later in the, when summer, I'll hire you back. So even as these lockdowns end, state by state, they're phasing stuff out. I think the labor market's going to be mired in this rut at least until August, because what I just said, that's true up through July. So there's that element that, the official unemployment numbers are going to be really huge once the next month's numbers come out, because there's a lag. And that's going to stay high at least through the summer, because like I say, there are many people who are literally getting paid more to stay home than to work. So there's that element. Beyond that, though, I'm concerned that what the government's doing in the central bank, meaning the Federal Reserve, it's moving into a position where you need to be on their good side. Like you're getting cheap loans from them, or, to be declared an essential business, like in the various phases and who's allowed to go to work. And so I'm concerned, like a lot of the smaller businesses, like a mom and pop store, or, it's just sole entrepreneurship, they're just going to go under. And then, really the bailouts or whatever, the relief programs are going to be more for bigger companies. So I think you're going to see a lot more consolidation of this, where this crisis is, being hijacked, as it were, so that besides everything else that's going on, when the dust settles, I think there's going to be a lot more concentration, and a lot of, small business owners are going to get wiped out, and they're going to have to go back to being employees.
Yeah. So like, what's your prediction for when everybody goes back to work? It's probably not going to happen instantly or overnight, but there's definitely going to be a shift where like it starts to happen and people it seems like it's already kind of starting to happen. Like I'm noticing more places are opening up in limited capacity. Like even some are doing it against the wishes of their local government. Like people are like restless to go back to work. Once that kind of, I don't know if it'll tidal wave in or how fast it'll happen, but that shift happens, what effect do you think that'll have on the economy?
Well, I mean, it'll be good. Like in terms of the official numbers, we don't have the estimate yet, but I mean, GDP, that thing fell off a cliff. Yeah. I think it's probably the biggest drop in a quarter literally ever. Like even during the Great Depression, it didn't fall this quickly, because there's never been anything like this. Yeah, there's never been a time when the governments around the whole country just said you can't go to work. Like there's nothing like this. That's never happened. So, I mean, there's been pandemics and stuff, but they didn't force everybody to stay home before. So to answer your question, I mean, that'll somewhat recover, but again, in my mind, the economy was already in serious trouble anyway, and so then this is just kicking somebody who already
Is there a boom, do you think, because of all the things people haven't been doing for so long will suddenly go out, and will there be a lot of spending, do you think, or is it going to be a weak climb back up because a lot of people weren't working?
Right. So the latter thing you said, I think that I think a lot of people are still going to be skittish, and even when everything's wide open, and even if all the restaurants and I think a lot of people are just going to say, you know what, I don't want to go back to a movie theater anytime soon. Let's wait a year and see how many people get. Let's see if there's a second wave of this stuff.
Makes sense.
Or a restaurant, you know what I mean? So I think there's going to be a lot of things where it's not just going to be flipping a switch and it goes back to normal for various reasons. Like for some things, I think it's just people are just going to say, it's a new environment now, and I've seen cases in I don't know if it was Japan, but it was in China, excuse me, where they try to reopen movie theaters with every other seat taped off and stuff like that. But that's kind of, you know what I mean? Like that, I don't think you'd feel safe doing that. Oh, well, as long as the guy's only 10 feet away from me, breathing into the same air for 2 hours. So anyway, I'm just saying there's things like that aren't going to come back. The other big thing too, though, is the way I'm looking at it. It's not that the economy is just driven by are people willing to spend money, because like I said, they can just create money. That's not the issue. Is you have to go to the store. What are you going to spend your money on? Someone had to make that. And so if unless people start going back to work, that's really the constraint here is people have to go back to work. And again, it's going to be tricky with this wave of bankruptcies and things like, to give you another example, apparently in April, 25% of tenants didn't make their rental payment, just nationwide.
Yeah.
So a bunch of landlords, they can't make their mortgage payments. So what happened? So there's a lot of cascading things here.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's correct when people kind of just assume, well, just the federal government will bail everybody out. And that, that's just like we're all paying for it indirectly as taxpayers then. So there's a lot that's getting screwed up here, and it's not merely a matter of, let's just stay at home and watch Netflix for a few weeks and everything will be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many different people in so many different situations. To think the government can fix it all by throwing money at everybody is like I even know at our house where my wife is a nurse. She has hardly worked during this period because whatever she does is considered an essential. So we've lost it. Her chunk of the income has been almost all the way down. Apparently, whatever we made in 2018, I don't know. We haven't gotten any checks or anything from the government, so it's been not horrible, but it's been tight. It's like a
right.
Anyway, that's an anecdote right there.
Can you give that anecdote with some lemonade stand?
Yeah, I was going to say.
She had a lemonade. We both have lemonade stands, but nobody's buying her lemonade because they decided hers is not essential. Mine's not essential either, but I still just go and do it because I'm rebellious. I believe in freedom.
So if you could go punch one economist, who would it be? And where
in their body would you punch them?
And what you describe the punch?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but actually I'm a pacifist. So
what?
Yeah.
But I thought you were a Christian.
Technically,
kick 'em.
Yeah. So
who would
I
you
guess
have
what
your
I would do,
bodyguard punch?
I would write write a scathing article. There is a thing, so it would have to be Paul Krugman. And there is a thing where I challenged him to a debate, and then I to promote that I was doing a thing like a Rocky deal, so I was doing videos of me with boxing gloves on. And the Economist magazine did pick that up, and they had a caricature of me tapping him on the shoulder with my boxing gloves on. So there is that going on. So it would be him, but it would be more of a metaphorical punch.
Okay.
Oh.
In the metaphorical,
maybe like
stomach.
Well,
throwing.
that's the thing. It wouldn't be like from behind. Like it wouldn't be a cheap shot. Like
straight
I
up.
want him to see it coming.
Full frontal.
So,
Yeah.
So
I
maybe,
didn't mean that. Wrong. Wrong use of that.
Like the trolley problem. The trolley's headed towards Paul Krugman, and you've got the lever.
What?
That's the trolley problem.
That's not a lemonade stand analogy, so I can't follow.
The lemonade stand is about to fall on Paul Krugman, and he has the opportunity to dive and save him, and says,
Save
"Oh,
the lemons
I
or
didn't
Stand
see."
aside.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
That's the best we can get out of a pacifist, I guess. So you're a
Pacifist. Wow.
So yeah, you're a Christian, but you said you're a pacifist. How does that work?
Yeah.
Because Christians like war.
I mean, I know you're being provocative and funny, but I am curious what the. I've pondered that myself. So because where my pacifism comes from is just let me be clear. I don't think everyone who's a Christian, to be a good Christian, you got to be pacifist. I'm just saying the way I interpret the Sermon on the Mount and stuff. I'm saying, well, it sure sounds like he's saying this stuff, and in his own life, Jesus obviously didn't use violence to stop what happened to him, even though bad people did bad things. So yeah, that's it. Does flow from. It's sort of like the way I can put it is, like imagine like your literal brother. Wouldn't you feel bad if you had to go tell your parents, yeah, we had an argument and I killed him? Like even if it was in self-defense, like wouldn't you be second guessing yourself? So to me, I try to treat everyone as if
Depends what it was about.
Well, yeah, it is children of God, right? And so to say so again, I know there's crazy circumstances people can come up with, but I would just really bend over backwards to say, is there any way to try to diffuse this without resorting to actual violence?
But would there be a point where you would have to resort to it, or you never would? Hands up until your head is exploded by something.
I mean, the one people always, push me to court, like, oh, something horrible is going to happen to your kid, and you're looking at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not going to let something like that happen, but really I would try a lot to make sure I don't find myself in that position. And I think a lot of the cases, so if someone's coming, I would prefer to put my body in between it, and if I could do something like that, as opposed to like, oh, I would go get a bat and smack the guy in the head.
So I call you like a nigh pacifist.
Nah, what is not like near?
Nearly near, right? You just leave a little wiggle room.
A little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm very
trying
close.
to create a new term.
Borderline
pacifist.
So, did you become a Christian while you were attending the Austrian School of Economics?
I became a Christian in grad school.
So kind of.
Wow.
Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, the two are probably parallel tracks, though.
Gotcha.
You ever read Thomas Sowell? You like it?
Yeah.
You like him?
Yeah, I like him a lot. Yeah.
That was supposed to be a funnily stupid question, but it just sounded like I was just I'm an idiot.
No, but in all honesty, it was him reading his Do you know what I mean by op-eds? Because I don't even know if people read newspapers.
We make fun of op-eds all the time.
Okay, good. So when I was younger, some kids would read the sports section. I'd get newspapers and I'd flip to the back of the A section, and so the ones that occasionally would have Walter Williams or Thomas Sowell. Those were my favorite. That's what made me want to go into and become an economist.
Nice.
Was his stuff.
What are some of the commonly lobbed? I'm sure there's the weird thing about reading Thomas Sowell is I don't find a lot of people on the left that say much about him. They either just pretend he doesn't exist, which is probably really convenient, what are some of the commonly lobbed accusations? I don't know, like where do they say he's wrong, or criticisms of Thomas Sowell from the left, and where are they incorrect?
Right.
Or I don't know. Great question, Ethan.
You're right. I think they mostly ignore him.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because no matter what the poor guy does, everyone's going to just mention what his skin color is. Like,
yeah.
But I think that is part of it, that they realize they can't accuse him of being a racist, and since he writes so much on problems with quotas and affirmative action and things like that, it's not like they can even just sidestep those things. And so I do think that's part of it. Like if you're some white liberal who's used to just dismissing people as, oh, you're racist, you don't get it. They can't say that to him. So I think partly, but you're right. I've heard like he and Walter Williams have referred to and said, some of their critics call them, Uncle Tom, or like token Republican black people, or, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. But, I'm just hearing them say that's sometimes how they deal with us, is they, dismiss us as that way. But I have never really seen people address him head on.
Huh. Yeah, that's fascinating. Got any, Kyle? Well, I could go on, but I feel like I should give you a turn.
So you're a Christian economist, and I'm kind of wondering how you see that connecting, or why should Christians even care about that? And I don't know. It seems like it's one of those sciences or areas of study where Christians aren't.
He's a climate scientist for money.
A climate scientist, but with money.
Right? Is that what you are? So you predict. When do you predict the world will end from money? I don't know.
I was on a roll, man.
Sorry, I ruined you.
I was on a roll with that question. Just ruined.
No, that's a good. I like his question. Don't answer mine.
Okay, so if I understand, you're saying it like, is there a tension between economics and Christianity?
Or like, why should Christians care about it? I mean, why should we care?
Okay, well,
he's not Dave Ramsey.
I don't. Yeah, so I think so part of it is like, I think it's just economics is interesting and it's important to people, and so it's not that Christians per se care about it due to Christianity, but it's it's most of what government does nowadays in some way involves an economic fallacy, and so partly to keep people things like protecting the family from the onslaught of the state and things like that, which a lot of Christians care about. I think partly is if people knew sound economics, a lot of the justification that politicians use for these inroads, that bother Christians for other reasons, would evaporate. So there's that element as well, just for, an educated public is going to be able to maintain their liberty better. But you're right. I think some branches of Christianity or some variants of it are pretty hostile, particularly to free market economics. Like they think there's something dirty about profit seeking and whatnot.
Sure, yeah.
So I understand where that's coming from. Of course, there's a lot of people that think like, the Acts of the Apostles describes a socialist community, understandably, you could see where people would think that. So for me, it's more that, if you're a Christian, you certainly can't put your trust in riches, but clearly I think the Bible is not saying that if you're a rich person per se, that's it. Like, especially in the Old Testament, there's people, rewarded with wealth, and that was a sign of, being, walking with God and whatever, that they were blessed materially. So I think it's more a matter of priority.
Yeah.
I had something.
Can I help you?
I actually did have something. I lost it. You got something?
I don't have anything.
What was it? We do have our final 10 questions we want to ask you.
You want to do that?
I wish I could remember my question. All right. Let's do it.
Great.
Or do we have any questions from subscribers?
Oh.
Because they're not on here if we do, unless they're...
Oh, they might be mixed in with the other questions.
No, we just have the stupid questions.
Oh, we have some real questions, but I don't know if they're...
Oh, yeah.
If any of those are from the subscribers.
I'm not sure. Can you see how organized we are?
Very organized.
Well, it lends some spontaneity to it. It's good.
Yeah, it's spontaneous.
Do you like movies?
Yes, I do.
What's your favorite? Do you like Marvel movies or Lord of the Rings? Or
I bet it's
anything
Freakonomics.
Cool? Freakonomics.
That's his favorite movie.
Is there actually a movie of Freakonomics?
Oh, yeah. You didn't know
making
that?
that up.
Yeah, that was a movie.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, based on the book.
Huh. No, I didn't know that. I love the Marvel movies. Lord of the Rings. I never read the books, and the movies, they kind of seemed the same to me. And my thing is, I can't stand when there's like the climatic, battle scenes at the end when everybody lines up and blows and just runs at each other. Like, as an economist, I feel that that's wasteful. I feel like, we could have a huddle beforehand and say, guys, why don't we like hide out in the trees and then snipe at them? Or see, it seems wasteful.
Yeah.
And then as a pacifist, you wouldn't like that.
Right. We would just hide out in the trees.
Yeah.
And that's
Gotcha.
it. And we'd go pick lemons and go make a lemonade stand. Yeah.
That was actually
Lemonade
one question
stand.
I had. Because, lemonade stand. As an economist, a man who's got money wheels cranking in your brain all day long, what are ways you're different from the average person? Like, you see a coupon at the store. Like, what's a different way you conduct yourself at the grocery store with your decisions? Stuff like that. Gas, where you get your gas.
Sure. Just to finish the train of thought, like at the end of the Marvel one, when they're facing off against Thanos there. Mm-hmm. What's his face? Doctor Strange is like pulling, the bubbles are appearing, the circles, and why didn't he come behind them? See what I'm saying? Like, he can bring the reinforcements in anywhere. Why not come in behind him and just start?
That's a good point.
It's just
well, and even you think about Thanos' plan that he's going to kill half the population, but doesn't the population double like every 20 years or something? So his plan, he would cleanse the universe for like 20 years, and then that's his master plan.
Right. Well, that's something you mentioned as an economist. So
you look at that.
Like that Thanos is like a good environmentalist or something. That
his
like
heart's in the right place.
My dream is that I would be the hero there, because I would get out my textbook and show why more population means more division of labor and it's more efficient. In other words, we all have a higher standard of living with 7 billion people than if there were just 100 people. Like, if there was a nuclear holocaust and most of the people died off, the survivors would actually end up being pretty poor pretty fast. Like, like Will Smith in I Am Legend, he's driving his car around. What happens when the refined gasoline runs out? Does Will Smith know how to take crude oil and turn it into gasoline? I don't know that he's a smart guy, but I don't know. So that's the kind of thing where it's
good that you carved that out. He's smart.
Yeah, the whole premise of that is wrong, and also, like you're saying, for various things too. But so I was thinking, I'd be the hero in the Marvel universe, and they would take my textbook on population being good. Spider-Man would like put it on the inside of Captain America's shield. they would throw it, and then somebody would, like, I don't know, Marvel would just put it over Thanos' face, and he'd have to read it, and then he would have an epiphany.
And then just as backup, if he doesn't listen to it, then there's a button you push and it blows up and blows his head up.
He wouldn't press the button.
Pacifist.
Yeah. No, you hand it off to someone else.
Tony
or you
Stark
accidentally
would
stumble and drop it, and the button hits the ground.
Yeah. Tony Stark would push it.
Perfect.
All right, my question.
Okay.
Is it a dumb question?
Wait, what was your question? Oh, yeah.
What when you're like at the grocery store, the gas station?
Okay.
Where else do people go? You're hanging out at the hookah lounge. Wherever you hang out.
the pacifist club.
Cigar store.
Yeah.
Men's clothing.
I'm trying to think. I mean, so yes, to answer your question, it happens a lot. I'm trying to think of it. So like at the grocery store, just things like, coupons. Like, did you ever say, why do they have coupons? Like,
yeah.
If they're gonna, I mean, presumably it's because they want to sell more at a lower price. Okay, so why don't they just cut the price then? What's the function? Why do they give coupon? So there, as an economist, I think the answer is something like, because they really only want to give the price cut to the people that are going to respond to it. You know what I mean? So they're actually trying to charge two prices.
Right.
So the busy person who's just, coming from work, he's got to run by the store and get some stuff and go home. They want to charge him a higher price than the person who is going to go to a different store if the price is lower. That's the person that gets the coupon. Little things like that. Why do movie theaters? The reason they charge. A lot of stuff is economists almost overthink things. Like, so stuff that you would think are obvious, economists are more like, they don't know why, but they know your explanation isn't right. So for like why does popcorn cost so much at the movie theater? An economist will sit there and say, why is that? And most people are like, because they can. Yeah. It's like, well, okay, but then why don't they charge you to go to the bathroom then at the movie theater? Because they can do that too. And you see, what I mean? So it's weird things like where it's more economists. They don't necessarily come up with the right answer, but they know why your answer is wrong. So
I remember I talked to somebody who owned a movie theater and was telling me about almost all the money goes back for the movies. It's almost like the movies are a way for them to get customers in, and they make almost all their money from the popcorn and stuff. Which is pretty crazy. Yeah. It made me suddenly convicted that whenever I go to the movies, I better buy some popcorn.
Right.
Which isn't good for me because I'm really fat.
Well, and I got another one for you. Okay, so like at the grocery store, like you ever notice they play like kind of soft rock and you know what I mean? Like there might even be a song you like, but it's not the version It's like
Journey and stuff.
Real, like, don't stop believing, and why is that? And I believe the answer is because they want to slow you down. They don't want you to zoom. You know what I mean? They want to slow you down so you shop more. So just little things like that.
Yeah, that's why they put the milk in the back. Because I only ever go to the grocery store to get the milk.
Oh yeah.
You have to
milk,
walk through
eggs, and bread. You got to get through all the stuff to get there. Interesting.
Smart.
Well, let's do our final 10 questions. If you got time, for this?
Sure thing.
All right.
Go ahead, Ethan.
Have you ever met Christian pop artist Carmen?
No.
Sad.
Are you a Calvinist or an Arminian?
I am very close to a Calvinist. There's
nigh Calvinist.
Yes. Yeah, like maybe all but one of the points, and I'm sold on.
Okay. You don't like limited atonement? Is that the point you don't like?
Can you guys put this into lemonade stand analogy?
Well, Jesus purchased the lemonade, but did he buy the lemonade for everybody or just for the elect?
Yeah, to answer, because there's certain, and believe me, I get where that comes from, but also there's like Jesus died, for the sins of the world.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There's things. Yes, to answer your question,
I'm on the same page.
That's the one. That's a sticking point.
You can add one book to the Bible. What is it?
I suppose I would like one in between, the Old and New Testament, like to just give us an idea, like what were those people thinking? Like were they waiting around? Did things steadily decline?
Are you like adding a book to the, like it would be? So it'd be called like Hezekiah or something.
Isn't Hezekiah already a book?
Is it?
I think so.
Is Hezekiah a book?
Hey Dan, is Hezekiah a book in the Bible?
It'd be called Matthew. Yeah, something new, Matthew. Yeah, but
Matthias. No, well, usually this book, it means like, what's a book you think is so good? That's funny that you didn't know that Hezekiah wasn't a book in the Bible.
It just sounds like one.
He went to like Bible college.
I know. Well, I'm on the spot here.
Oh, see, I misunderstood your.
That's like if you wanted to add.
You mean like I'm supposed to say
Thomas
Great
Sowell's
Expectations or something?
Basic Economics.
I'm supposed to say human.
Yeah.
Okay, not
Human
that I'm
action.
literally-
But you can do that. You can make up a book. I like this.
Okay.
But I want you to name it.
Well, Hezekiah didn't live.
Hezekiah.
Hezekiahus.
Okay. Hezekiah.
Oh, okay.
So in this book of Hezekiah, they explain what all happened in between. It's like a prequel.
The midquel.
Yes. Yeah, midquel.
A
Yeah.
midquel.
It's like Rogue One.
Yeah, it's like you took it. Yeah. Okay, we both were going to say Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Right.
So it's showing, the Israel's waiting, they haven't heard from. So that it would be like the only book where I guess God doesn't directly do something, just to kind of know like what's going on here, and to see. I'd be curious to see. Are they getting worried? Are they like, no, it's fine. He's gonna, the prophecies are there.
It's
I'd
like
be curious.
the Better Call Saul of the New Testament.
yes,
Maybe.
Better call
But
King
not Saul. Well, maybe Saul.
King Saul, yeah.
King Saul.
What? Cigars or pipes?
Pipes.
All right. Who do you hang out with? You get to hang out with any three people, living or dead. You can't pick Jesus.
Have a pipe with
Have a
them.
pipe with them.
Okay. Richard Feynman.
Is that an economist?
No, the physicist. You guys,
I don't know.
surely you're joking, Mr. Oh, he's a famous physicist.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew that.
He did cool stuff. No, he was a fun. You should check him out.
We'll
He
check
did
him out.
some good stuff. He was a jokester. He's working on the atomic bomb in World War II,
Oh.
and he's going around like just figuring out how to open the safes of the generals and stuff like at the Los Alamos site. So a clever guy. You'd like him.
Okay.
I don't know if he had a lemonade stand or what his position was on that. All right, so him. Let's say I don't know, John Lennon. Sure, why not? And oh boy, Thomas Paine. How's that?
Wow.
All at the same
Nice
time.
mix. Yeah, all together.
It would be an explosive conversation.
Yeah. What do you believe the rumors that John Lennon became a little more conservative in his later years?
I mean, I wasn't aware of that, but that wouldn't surprise me. Just him having a kid and stuff.
Yeah. Or there was some guy that wrote a book about it. He showed all this evidence that he had actually kind of become a little more. He kind of regretted Imagine apparently later on. That was a little young. I didn't
know that. Yeah, that's interesting.
Naive.
Even having said all that, I mean, what bothers me though, like his song "Revolution" was anti-revolutionary. You know what I mean? If you actually listen to the lyrics, he's saying like he's telling like the people calling for violent like, no, calm down, guys, and you're not going to get anywhere. Sharing pictures of Chairman Mao. Yet for some reason I've seen conservatives thinking, oh, well, the Beatles were calling for revolution. William F. Buckley knew. Blah blah. It's like no, you misunderstood.
Conservatives mistranslate lyrics quite often, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like Christian magazines, like explaining to parents what lyrics mean. There is like,
Oh yeah.
that's the opposite meaning of the song.
Whiskey or beer?
I guess I'll say beer.
All right. But not IPA, hopefully.
Or lemonade?
You become president. What is the first thing you do?
I'll say resign. I don't know if that's the obvious answer. And the reason would be, I would like taking a stand for, hey, I can't take this money. It's, there shouldn't be such a position, that kind of thing. But then off in the wings, when I no longer have power, then I would go ahead and give all sorts of ideas about what could be done.
And what would your first idea be that you'd give to the president?
I would, I suppose get rid of the income tax.
Nice. I like it.
I'm voting for Dr. Murphy,
Kyle never votes.
but I don't vote.
Oh, Kyle's turn.
Is it my turn? Oh, what do you order at Chick-fil-A? I got all the dumb
Some of these
questions, man.
We
You
have to
got
get some
the better
Yeah.
question.
We could switch that when we have a better one in place of that one.
What do you order at Chick-fil-A? I want to know.
Okay, fine.
What do I order? I get the sandwich and the fries and the Coke. What? I don't know.
It's a simple menu. So we
Yeah.
need
It's such a simple menu.
we need
It's
a
a
better
dumb
question.
question.
The choice. I mean, whether you get the fried one or the the grilled one, I guess that's
about
the
it.
issue. And so it depends how
fingers
what
are
they
sandwich.
need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a fist fight? That's the one I wanted to put in place of that one.
Have you ever been in it? He's a pacifist.
I know, but that would make it interesting. We find out he's been in one.
Yeah. Have you ever been in
maybe that's why. Maybe I realized, I don't want to do that again.
That hurt.
No, the most was a pushing fight. I don't know if you guys
pushing
had
fight?
those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know. It was pretty young. We were playing kickball in the school. I don't even know what happened. I was like rounding second base. I think there was some incidental contact. We were playing the other homeroom, and then like the two homerooms, the benches cleared, and the kid was pushing me, so I had to push him back, and then the teacher broke it up. But there you go.
I was hoping it was like at economy school.
Yeah.
When they're arguing over the
school.
different models, the different philosophies of economics. Start pushing each other.
Paul Krugman's right. Wrong. Oh wait, did I take? No. One concert.
You added
I added one. Okay, one concert. Any band in history. Who do you see?
I mean, I love the Beatles, so probably them,
guess.
but also in terms of just the perform, like I would love to have seen Queen in their prime. Like I think that would be pretty incredible too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Good answer. Right here, right now, do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior?
Yes.
All right.
All right, we got another one. We did it.
We have very effective altar calls here at the Babylon Bee. All right, well,
sir.
did we do it?
I think we did it. We solved all of the economy's problems through lemonade standardologies.
The problems of the MCU and the economics there.
Which MCU character would be the best economist?
I'll say Doctor Strange because where he does the real counterintuitive, like he looks at all the possibilities and then gives Thanos the thing. Like that's something an economist would do, where everyone else would say that is the stupid. Why would you do? Like economists tend to, come up with some wacky off the wall thing, and it's because they've really thought through all the alternatives. So I'll say that.
All the multiverses.
I like it.
Yeah.
So Dr. Murphy has written some books we wanted to mention: Choice, The Politically Incorrect Guide to Capitalism, and Lessons for the Young Economist. And you have a new teaching series out called Understanding Money Mechanics. Where can people find all that stuff?
If they go to my website, you can see links to it. So consultingbyRPM.com.
Okay.
You can get links to all that stuff. And the money mechanics thing, that's coming out from the Mises Institute.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, all the links will be in the show notes. We thank you so much for coming on. Hope you didn't mind all our stupid questions.
Yeah.
And if we have more economics questions someday, we'll bring it back.
We'll bring you back.
Okay, well, great, guys. Thanks. This was fun. And like I said, to keep up the good work, I like the stuff you guys are doing.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Bob.
That Bob. What a guy.
Classic Bob. Not shooting people.
What?
He was like pacifist.
Oh, yeah. Pacifist.
Remember, we just interviewed him like minutes ago, Ethan.
Yeah. But I thought that there's maybe a thing about people named Bob never shoot people.
Looking at the numbers.
Numbering, yeah.
All the numbers and stuff.
All the numbers and the monies.
Classic Bob. All right, well, we're going to do some hate mail.
Hate mail.
I really miss Adam Ford.
So because Ethan published an incredibly racist article while I was gone.
This is directly linked to that article?
Yeah, everybody was mad. So I come back to this. Well, it was mostly like this vocal minority on Twitter that always gets mad at us just once in a while. Like,
yeah,
someone will send them a link to an article and then it'll go and someone will post it to get their 10 retweets about how they're mad at it.
It's always like some denomination, and then it's some guy who looks like kind of hip and has like 1,000, 2,000 followers.
It's always right around there.
And it's always like what are some denominations? I can never remember any of them.
Like Anglicans. Episcopalians.
You see? You know 'em.
Yeah.
Foursquare.
No,
that's Pentecostal. Yeah. Nazarenes.
Maybe, yeah.
No?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
You said Presbyterian. Okay, anyway.
I didn't say Presbyterian.
Oh, you didn't?
But maybe mainline like PCUSA would
PC?
be mad at us. Anyway, so this guy says, imagine taking the one precious life you have and using it to create a racist, trash, fire website like the Babylon Bee.
Do you think he went back and added words? Racist,
like
trash.
Like he says,
Fire.
imagine taking one life you have, create a racist website, and he's staring at his tweet, and he's about to click send, and he's like,
what does racist trash fire look like? So you're a racist.
And you're like,
Cletus,
hey,
you're Cletus. I'm Winkle.
We're drinking beer outside the trailer.
You're like, throw away all that garbage. We got to clean up this trailer. This thing's a mess.
Or maybe
we got all our racist magazines laying around.
You're burning pictures of Obama and stuff.
Yeah, burning in your and all those Song of the South DVDs we got laying around.
Yeah. Hey, let's call all the other racists.
Yeah,
they call all the local racists.
We're having us a bonfire, boys. So they throw all the trash in the fire. Light it up.
So you take a picture of that, and that, in essence, is what the Babylon
That's
Bee
what the Babylon Bee is.
It's racist.
And they're all roasting their weenies over it, and their marshmallows.
And we're just laughing.
We're warming the racists with our trash fire.
Telling jokes about Mexicans.
The guys are on the fire, not us.
Yeah, well, because the Babylon Bee is the racist trash fire.
We're just the warming mechanism, and we're also getting rid of their trash for them.
Oh, I get it. So we're attracting all the racists.
They're gathering around us like moths to the flame.
Yeah, okay.
What if we spread because they're all drunk?
Ooh.
Because of all the moonshine they've been drinking.
There's moonshine all over the ground.
Everywhere, and they're laying around, and then we spread, and then we just kill all the racists.
So now the racist trash fire is...
the hero.
Plot twist.
Mm-hmm. So he just complimented us.
Thanks, guy.
Well, because I looked at his, I wanted to say something nice to him, but then he was being dogpiled already. And like, I fully do not support a lot of things being said to him. And people, it's just Twitter. People are on Twitter. It's great that you like the Babylon Bee, but you don't got to be a jerk. But I was looking, and he likes MXPX and Dungeons and Dragons, Kyle. So I think,
I'd be a fan.
So I wonder if there'd be a way to like set up a fake meeting where he doesn't know who you are, and then you guys are hanging out, and he finds out.
And then I just rip off.
Yeah.
The mask.
Your skin off your skull.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, and see what his reaction is. Like, what would you say? Because I don't know how to talk like a guy that does D&D. Like, oh man, my guild. I loved that guild we were in with the dragon and the spells and the mage, and now I can't like you.
Something
it's like
that.
A spell of darkness has come over me.
Yeah, so we would be like in a dungeon. We would be going through the dungeon, and we're like getting ready to...
Sounds kinky.
We're getting ready to disarm a trap or something. We got the swinging blade trap we've discovered. I'm about to do it. I'm like, but first.
How did you vote?
And he's like, and then he would just push me into the trap, and he would tell the dungeon master, I pushed Kyle's character into the trap.
The dungeon master.
And the trap then ignites, and I become a racist fire.
Okay.
And it's just
burning.
My character just dies.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Well, this guy.
Well, if you're listening, this guy. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Let's come over. Let's listen to some MXPX records.
If we met and he didn't know that I was Babylon Bee, I bet we'd get along.
And play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I don't want to play it.
And burn racists together.
Yeah, I'll burn some stuff.
Some racists?
Sure.
People?
Or at least some racist materials.
Oh, okay.
Except for the Babylon Bee, I don't want to burn that because I need a job.
Yeah. So even though it's racist, you get...
And it's racist because
you
it
gotta
just
get a
says
paycheck.
asking questions about a 30-second video.
Yeah.
That's all it says. It's not that bad. I mean, I'm just saying compared to other racists.
Yes.
On the spectrum.
Yeah.
That's down there.
It's no like 1920s, 1930s Disney cartoon.
That's right.
In terms of racism.
That's right. Okay. Moving on to...
Going to our subscriber portion, we're going to talk about cheese with GK Chesterton. It's going to be wonderful. And if you're not subscribing, you're really missing out.
That's not tantalizing to you. I don't know what is. That should actually be really fun. I love that essay. It's awesome.
I'm just trying to think of cheese puns.
Oh, yeah. We're still doing those?
No, I don't know. But it's just...
Mozzarella. Looking forward to it.
You can't just say the name of a cheese.
Oh, Rilla. Mozzarella.
What is mozza? What's the... All right, everybody. Bye.
Goodbye. Smoked chipotle. Cheddar. You later.
The rest of this podcast is in our super exclusive premium subscriber lounge. If you're not a Babylon Bee subscriber, go to babylonbee.com/plans for full-length ad-free podcasts, access to our headline forum, 20% off the items in the Babylon Bee store, a gift, and more. Please drop us a review on iTunes and share the podcast with a friend. Feedback and love mail go to podcast@babylonbee.com. Follow Ethan at AxeCop and Kyle at _Kyle_Man on Twitter. Kyle and Ethan would like to thank Seth Dillon for paying the bills, Adam Ford for creating their job, the other writers for tirelessly pitching headlines, the subscribers, and you, the listener. Until next time, this is Dave D'Andrea, the voice of the Babylon Bee, reminding you to go forth and punch Satan repeatedly in the ribs.